Dan, it's been described as a once-in-a-lifetime event. How excited are you to be going over there and experiencing that?
Yeah, pretty crazy. Like, I've seen it from the outside. I was there at the Venetian when it opened. Like, I've seen this incredible spectacle from the outside, but to wonder what it's going to be like from the inside is a whole different thing, because we haven't even seen any inclination of what's coming up inside. So I don't know how it's going to play out. It's just going to be, just probably the craziest UFC experience I've ever had.
It's also a testament to, I guess, how far the UFC is willing to push the boundaries of what's possible in sports and entertainment. Like, I don't imagine anybody, any fight promoter out there was thinking this was possible so soon after it's opened.
Nah, not at all. He's just, that's what the boss man does. That's what Dana White does, is that if there's a competitor in the market, he does it bigger and better than they ever could. And that's what the Sphere card is. He's just, he's flexing on the competition in this one.
I was talking to UFC executive producer Craig Borsari yesterday, and he was telling me that they've designed these worlds, these universes. He was also telling me that fans in the arena are going to be able to listen to Spanish commentary throughout the night, and haptic seats which will provide feedback for every punch and kick. It just sounds like a totally immersive experience.
I've seen other things, like other shows go on in there, and they have wind in the Sphere. They can create an atmosphere. They can create wind. They also have like other sensory stuff. So they'll release smells into the Sphere. So you're like watching, they could. Like in other shows, there'll be a forest in the background, and then you can smell the forest. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too sure that I want to be smelling blood that quickly after my fight, but we'll see.
Absolutely. And you know what? You couldn't think of two champions better to headline this event. Now, we'll get to Alexa Grasso in just a moment, but as we take a look at our Musashi top 5 Sean O'Malley knockouts, he is young, he's dynamic, he's vibrant. I think he's the perfect headline for this Sphere card.
Yeah, and he's really setting into his own. I feel like in his last few performances, like he's always talked a big game ever since he came out of the Contender Series, but these last few fights, he really is becoming who he always said he would be. And you can see him getting a lot more comfortable in his skin, especially like that last big win over Sterling. Like it was almost like he knew that it was imminent that the fight would be a result like that.
And Sean's fight style, I feel, is somewhat reminiscent of yours. He's got great length, great reach, and his striking is just tremendous. How do you assess his game?
Yeah, incredible at controlling that distance. A sniper, an absolute sniper from range. And that's the big thing I see in this fight, is how will Merab cover that range? Because a very similar style, a very similar opponent to Sean's last one, Aljamain Sterling.
He had a very tough fight, I guess you could say, against Petr Yan, but I think he silenced all the doubters in that fight against Aljamain Sterling, and again when he fought Chito Vera only a few months ago.
Yeah, very different kind of wrestling style as well. Petr Yan, obviously predominantly more of a striker. He's got 70, 80 amateur boxing fights to his record. And he uses his wrestling more defensively, and he's more of like an opportunist takedowns, like just uses some trips and sweeps. Whereas like Sterling and Merab, two very similar style of wrestlers. They cover, they shoot, and they're looking to really take you down and put you on your back. So I feel like between Petr Yan and Merab, both strong wrestlers, but two incredibly different styles.
Well, let's take a look at our Musashi knockout moment. And it is, once again, that fight that he had against Aljamain Sterling. Plenty of people were doubting him after that close split decision win over Petr Yan. What were you thinking as you watched this fight?
Yeah, well, just covering that range, getting in on him. And also, like, Sugar Sean is a master at the mental warfare. He was able to, at the press conference, at the weigh-ins, get into Aljamain Sterling's head. So Aljamain, rather than being patient, taking his time and setting up, covering that distance, he really rushed it. He panicked and rushed. And I can already sense like Sugar's getting under Merab's skin.
Really? And
we still have so much time to go. We still have weigh-ins, we still have press conference, we still have media day. Like there's still a lot of time to cover and a lot of time for Sugar Sean to use that mental warfare that he has.
It's interesting you say that, because I feel Merab is Sean's most dangerous opponent to date. Do you agree?
The amount of takedowns, if he is able to cover that distance in the first round and get his hands on Sean and get him to the ground, it's going to be a long night for Sugar Sean. Like, Merab takes more takedown attempts than anyone else in the division, bar none. He is a 5-round fighter. He's built for main events, he's built for 5-round fights, and he can shoot, which he has proven. He can shoot for 25 minutes non-stop.
His cardio is quite remarkable. With respect to Merab, though, I think the one chink in his armor is that he is there to be hit. I mean, so Henry Cejudo at UFC 298 hit him with a great shot. I just wonder if Sean O'Malley hits him with that shot, if he gets back up.
That's a big question. That's my big question coming into it. But yeah, the cardio king, Merab. I've actually been in the training room with, in the warm-up room with him. And it might have been like one of his first or second fights inside the UFC. And so I was watching this new kid like doing his warm-up before the fight. He sparred with this guy for an hour straight before he went out and had and put on a non-stop takedown performance for 15 minutes. I was watching him warm up for an hour, sparring with someone else, non-stop, taking them down, beating them up. And I was like, this kid's going to get tired. But he went out for his fight, and he did not flinch for a second. He did not get tired at all.
How do you warm up?
Mate, I stand up. I stand up when I walk out. I like to save my energy for the fight.
the 5 steps that it takes to get
5 steps. I've seen Mark Hunt do a warm up. He stood up, threw 3 uppercuts, walked out there and knocked out Roy Nelson. So I'm not. I don't think a warm up's the most important part.
Fair enough. Well, your teammate Alexander Volkanovski spoke to the challenger. Volk, it's over to you.
What's happening, guys? Alexander